Little Victory Sports Cards here, and today I will be cracking out most of this whole stack of BGS slabs right here, and a lot of them are BGS Gem Mint 9.5s, and I will be resubmitting them to PSA in hopes of getting those Gem Mint 10s. So the whole Beckett fiasco at the Mint Collective, I think I finally had enough of Beckett. Honestly, that was the last straw for me. I will not be grading them with them anymore. If you didn't know, I'm talking about their awful handling of their new grade scale reveal, and then eventual backtracking of that reveal. It just shows that the company is nowhere near where it needs to be, and it honestly made me want to crack out a lot of my Beckett slabs. But I also needed to look to see if it was cost effective and worth it to crack and resubmit each particular BGS card. So I went through each one I had and found this stack that are possible excellent financial candidates to be cracked out. So in this video, I'll explain my financial breakdown, the risk and reward, my reasoning why each one of these are great or not great candidates to be cracked out. So there's definitely money to be made cracking out slabs, and I'm hoping that this video will help you decide whether you want to or not. It's mainly cracking out BGS or lesser grading company slabs and resubmitting to PSA. That's where you're gonna make the money. You'll see the money difference. It's usually not worth cracking out a PSA slab and grading with another company unless you receive a PSA near mint to mint 8 or lower and you honestly believe the card is severely undergraded by PSA. Then it might be financially effective to send to like a SGC or a BGS. For example, like those thick patch cards, PSA hammers those cards. So and SGC and BGS are more lenient, so I can see maybe grading with them on the thicker cards. Now, it's the best when you were the original grader of the card, then you know the kind of ins and outs of the potential flaws on the card, you know, because the card is encased in a slab and you can't always see the imperfections of flaws clearly. So that's also where you rely on subgrades, and that's why I like cracking out Beckett the most. You know, one of my general rules, if you are hoping to make that BGS Gem 9.5 to a PSA 10, is, you know, you don't crack out if there is a subgrade of a 9 surface grade or say a 9 corner subgrade. You know, a 9 centering or edges is usually okay with PSA, but ideally a true gem, which is all 9.5 subgrades, is obviously what you're looking for, and I think we'll have the best chance at getting that Gem 10. But let's go ahead and move on and go to the first card. All right, the first card we got is this nice 2014 Joel Embiid rookie card. It is the orange die cut, I believe numbered out of 139. I know what you're thinking, PSA hammers die cuts, but for some reason, these 2014 Panini Prisms are cut very nicely. You don't get a lot of that die cut, normal die cut damage to the edges and stuff, so it's a good copy to crack out and resubmit, especially if you notice the subgrades. It is a true gem, all 9.5 subgrades. So then what I would do, I would check the comps for a PSA 9 and check the comps for a PSA 10 and the current value as is for the BGS 9.5. So when I check the comps on eBay or Card Ladder and stuff like that, the BGS 9.5, this copy right now is selling for around $450. The PSA 9 is selling for $350. The PSA 10 is about $850. So then from that, I would calculate the risk and reward. So the risk would be I would lose $100 if it got a PSA 9. But the reward, I would gain probably $400 if it got the 10. And you know, I like those odds. I think this would be a green light, meaning go for it, go ahead and crack it out. I think the last thing I would do would give my overall percentage of what I feel like it would grade, and I would say an 80% chance this would get a PSA 10. And I would say 20% chance it would get a PSA 9. I like those odds. I think this one is worth cracking out and resubmitting to PSA. There you go. That's card number 1. All right, the next card is this 2013 Travis Kelce, numbered out of 99, National Treasures rookie card. Great looking card. I would say, as is, a BGS 9.5 sells for around $1,000. A PSA 9 sells for around $800, and a PSA 10 I think would sell around $1,500. So the risk would be getting that 9, and that would be about a $200 hit. And the reward would be about $500. So, you know, I think the reward is kind of worth it here. I'm not completely sold. It is a thicker card. And the corners, if you see on the subgrades, got a 9, so I'm a little concerned about that. But I looked them over carefully, and I don't see much going on. Like I said, a thicker card, which worries me a little bit. But white, white front and white back edges and corners. I'm pretty confident this would get a 10. So I would say this would be a yellow light, which is a maybe crack out. Like a proceed with caution. I think I'm going to go ahead and crack it out. My percentage, I would give it I would say a 60% chance it's going to get a 10, and a 40% chance it's going to get a 9. So, like I said, it's yellow. We'll see. I'm thinking I'll crack it, though. All right, that's card number 2. Next up is this clean Jason Tatum Silver Prism. They just beat the Hawks in this first round of the playoffs. This is a true gem, and I kind of bought this one in the hopes to crack it out. I would say the value right now for this BGS 9.5 True Gem is around $700. I looked up a PSA 9. They go for around $400, which is a little scary, I'll tell you why. And the PSA 10 sells for around $1,000. So the risk would be that 700 minus 400, so the risk is about $300, and the reward is about $300 gained if it got that 10. So I would say this isn't a no-brainer crack out. I would say a yellow light, proceed with caution. My probability, I would say this has a 70% chance of getting the Gem 10, and I would say about a 30% chance of it getting a Mint 9. I feel pretty good about it. A little slightly thicker on the right than the left, but I still think that's about 55, 45, definitely within. No surface marks. I didn't see anything, and I didn't see any white showing on the corners or edges. So I don't know. It looks like a 10 to me. I think I'm going to go ahead and crack it open. So that's a go. All right, the next card is probably my favorite card in this little crack out video. It is the 2012 Damian Lillard Silver Prism. BGS 9.5. This one's going to be risky to crack out, to say the least. I'm a huge Damian Lillard fan, Blazer fan, and I think his cards are going to have this little spike when he moves to another team. I just, you know, he's been loyal, but I don't think the Blazers can hold on to him much longer. He's got to go to a title contender, and they're kind of rebuilding, let's be honest. So the value of BGS 9.5, this right now sells for around $1,300. PSA 9 actually surprisingly around $1,200. And a PSA 10 is around $2,100. I like those numbers. So the risk is only $100 knock, and the reward would be an $800 increase. And percentage-wise, I would say this has at least a 60% chance of getting that Gem 10 and about 40% chance of getting the Mint 9. So I still think it's worth it, the risk there. It's only a $100 knock from a 9.5 to a 9, a PSA 9. So green light for me. I think I'm going to go for it. Look at the centering. It's nice. And I didn't see any surface issues that I could see through the slab. If you look at the subgrades, the 9 surface scares me. Kind of what I mentioned before, but I don't know. I didn't see anything. So that's a green light for me. Let's keep going. Next card up is this 2013 Giannis autograph out of Prism. I probably spent too much on this one, but I really thought they were going to go deeper into the playoffs. I did not see them losing first round. I think they just got unlucky. Got a bad matchup against the Heat and the crazy, insane postseason Jimmy. Jimmy Butler just, you know, going crazy. I didn't see that coming. But so, you know, with that said, I think there's going to be this kind of 6-month period where his stuff's going to be low or just down or flat, just not doing much. But you just got to wait it out. And while I wait it out, I'm going to go ahead and crack this open, I'm thinking. So the numbers on this, the BGS 8.5 is around, right now, it's around $1,700. A PSA 9 actually sells for $2,700. And a PSA 8, probably around $1,600. Subgrades, 8 on the surface. I'm a little worried, but I saw what it is, and it's 1 surface mark. You see it right there, right there. See that? So it is pretty noticeable, but that's the only mark, only surface flaw that I could see. So I don't know. I think it has a shot at a Mint 9. It has a shot. Just got to get the right grader, but probably more likely to get the PSA 8. But the numbers I gave you, the PSA 8 was only $100 less than this current value. So the risk is about $100, and the reward is like $1,000. So there it is. That's a green light. So percentage-wise, I'm going to give it a percentage to get a PSA 9. I'm going to give it 40%. And to get a PSA 8, I'm going to give it 60%. So I'm going against the odds, but I think it'll be worth it. There you go, the Giannis. Next up, we finally have something a little different than the basketball prisms. We got a 1993 very iconic card, SB Derek Jeter foil rookie card. This one was graded a BGS 8, and subgrades are decent. The edges, they gave a 7.5, and honestly, I couldn't see it. I definitely could see the 8 corners, but the edges 7.5 now. So the corners I'm worried about are the back 2, but that's very common on these color ones. The white one usually does okay, but I don't know. I think this has a good shot at a PSA 8. So let's look at the numbers. This card right now in a BGS 8 sells for around $240. A PSA 8 sells for $400. And a PSA 7 sells for $200. So I'd say the risk is getting that 7. And that would be, you know, minus 40 bucks. But the reward, getting that 8, is about $160. So I don't know. I'd say this is a green light. I think it's a go. I'm gonna put it percentage-wise. Looking over the card, I'm gonna put it at a 40% chance of getting an 8 and a 60% chance at getting a 7. So odds aren't with me there, but the risk was just kind of so low. I think it's worth it to me. And I'm being a little cautious on this. All right, there's the Jeter. Next card is the mass-produced, highly populated Ja Morant. And it's sad because he's really going to be one of the best players in the NBA for the next 10 years. I just wish they didn't overproduce this year. It's the silver. Rookie out of 2019. It is a BGS 9. And they sell for around $160. A PSA 9 sells for $200, and a PSA 10 sells for $650. So, as you can see, the centering on the subgrades 8.5, and I get that. It is very kind of thick on the left as opposed to the right. But very common to this card to be off-centered like that. I've seen even PSA 10s look like this. So I'm going to give it an outside chance of getting a 10, believe it or not. But I think it's a smooth, easy crossover into at least a 9, a PSA 9. So I'd say the risk, there is no risk at this one. I think it's a no-brainer because even if it gets the 9, that's a $40 reward. And it has an outside chance at a 10. That would be, gosh, I don't know, around a $500 reward. So I'm going to, percentage-wise, I'm going to put it at a 90% chance of getting a PSA 9 and about a 10% chance of getting a PSA 10. So green light, no brainer on this one. I'm cracking it. Get it out of that Beckett slab. Next up, we got another silver. This one is of the Spider 2017 Silver Prism. The subgrades, I am a little concerned. It has a 9 on the corners, but I looked it over very carefully, and I didn't see much. Maybe just a little speck on one of the corners. I think this is a good candidate. The prices, man, this card has dropped a lot, and it's probably going to drop even more now that they lost first round to the Knicks. But, man, in basketball in particular, in the sports card world, people are so quick to, you know, get turned off by players, and they forget just how good they are. And this dude got a 70-point game in the regular season, over a 70-point game. It is insane. And I think he's on track for the haul. He's just got to, you know, keep it steady. So, you know, I don't know. This might be a good off-season buy as Donovan Mitchell stuff. But anyway, the BGS 9.5 right now as it sits is down to $180. PSA 9 sells for $120, and a PSA 10 sells for around $320. Wow. Huge drops on this. The risk, I would say about, it gets the 9, that risk is about $60, and the reward, it gets the 10 is around $140. So I think that gives it a green light. I think it's worth it. Not much risk here. And percentage-wise, I'm going to put it at about a 70% chance of getting a Gem 10 and about 30% chance of getting the 9. So worth it on the Spider. I hope to see it in a PSA 10 slab soon. And I might be buying some more of his silvers and stuff like that during this offseason. All right. Next up is another card that's dropped a bunch, even though he's a young superstar basketball player still, and he's proven it in this first round. So 2015 silver prism of Devin Booker, nicely centered up. Look at that centering. You can honestly see the flaw right now. So surface is an 8.5. It is, I had it right there, one line right here. It's a little factory line right here, and a little tiny dimple right there. It's kind of hard to see right now on the slab there. But I've seen 10s with more imperfections than that. But my hope is just kind of a straight cross to a PSA 9. So let's look at the values. As it sits, BGS 9 is about 300. A PSA 9 is about 350. And a PSA 10 jumps to about 1,300. So there you go. You know, from the sound of that, I like it. So the risk, I don't think there is a risk here. I think percentage-wise, I'm going to put it at I'd say 90% chance to get a mint 9 and about a 10% chance to get a gem mint 10. I'd say 0 chance to get that 8. So risk, no risk, reward, man, we're going to say it's going to be straight to a PSA 9. So the reward would only be $50, but I like that 10% chance of it getting that 10. It's worth it. That would be a $1,000 reward. So green light on this. You never know. Get the right grader. It's worth it. The corners look pretty good. Green light. Crack that one. Next up, we got a football card of one of my favorite players in the NFL, Justin Herbert, former Duck. I'm a huge fan. He's just a good dude, very intelligent. You know, I know a lot of people are knocking him for his kind of postseason performance and everything, or lack thereof. But honestly, I'm going to put the blame on the coaching. So I'm hoping this year with some new coaches, he'll have a better year. This one got an 8.5. I don't know why I graded it with Beckett. I probably should have. I didn't even get subs on it. But I remember this card. It was mine. So I remember it thinking it was going to get a 9. I think it just had a little bit of corner issues, maybe a touch of white showing. I can't believe Beckett hammered it as much as it did. It's fairly nicely centered. This year, Prism 2020 is always kind of off-center. There's a little printing problems. But this one looked pretty good, as you can see. So my hope is that it gets the mint 9. So let's look at the values. The BGS 8.5 as it sits is about $250. The PSA 9 would be around $350, and the PSA 10 jumps up to, whoa, that can't be right, $1,500. But I'm also going to give you the PSA 8 just in case, and that's $230. So I'd say the risk would only be around $20 plus the grading fee. But the reward, I would say it gets that 9, and that's a $100 bump. But I also like the possibility that it gets a 10. You never know. And that would be like over a $1,300 bump. So I like that. I think that's what gives it a green light. It gives it a go. So percentage-wise, I would say this has about a 65% chance of getting a mint 9. Has a 30% chance of getting a PSA 8. And the rare 5% outside shot at getting a PSA 10. But I'm okay with those odds, and I want to get it out of this non-subgrade slab of this BGS. So green light for me. This one's going to be cracked out. Wish me luck on the Herbie. Next up, we got the Jokic Silver 2015 rookie at a Prism. Oh man, very clean surface on this and nicely centered. You see that? But BGS gave it an 8.5, and I'm going to show you why they gave it an 8.5. And you see it right there. There's a little pinch to it. It looks like it was wasn't tight in like a SGC slab. You know how they have that kind of black frame? It looks like it just nicked it or came over the top of it a little bit. So other than that, it was flawless. So I don't know. I don't know how much PSA would hammer that. Beckett didn't like it, but I don't know. I think PSA would give it a 9. I really do. But let's look at the numbers. So as it sits, the 8.5, so this will sell for about $500. A PSA 9 is around $700. But a PSA 8, we need to look at that value. That is around $400. So the risk is about $100 knock, but the reward is about $200 reward of getting that 9. You know, I would say it's worth it. I'm gonna take a risk on this one. I think this is I would say a yellow light. Proceed with caution, but I want to see it in the mid 9 slab. I really do, a PSA slab. Percentage wise though, I'm not overly optimistic because I know how PSA might hammer that. So I'm gonna give it a 30% chance of getting a mint 9 and a 70% chance of getting that 8. But I'm going for it. Come on, mint 9 Jokic. Next up, we got a 2015 Tom Brady Prism Blue. You know, I am the one that submitted this to Beckett. I should have got subs, obviously, but I'm saying that because that means I remember all the qualities of this card, and it was flawless. No surface marks other than the centering. Do you see that? A little thinner on the left than the right. That's what worries me. I'm thinking PSA is going to give this a 9. I really do. Because of that centering. But I've said this before. They're more lenient on centering. Especially more than Beckett. And Beckett gave it a 9.5. So, I don't know. But let's look at the values. And this 9.5 as it sits is about $300. But a PSA 9 is down to $120. And a PSA 10 is actually only $400. So the risk is pretty high. It's about $180 knock. But the reward isn't that great either. The reward's only $100. So, you know, I'm going to say red light on this one. I would love to see it in the PSA slab, but I don't know. Percentage-wise, I'm going to put it at a 40% chance that they give it a 10 and about a 60% chance they give it a mint 9. So I'm going to do red light on this. Watch out. I am probably not going to crack this. I'm just going to keep it in the 9.5. The next one is a fun one. We got a Patty Mahomes Night School. But this one is the green parallel. So at least it's numbered out of $3.99. I like that. Front, flawless. This was my card originally. Touch of white on that darker corner. Everything else flawless. So touch of white, which would probably keep it from a 10. But it's a for sure PSA 9. And I'd rather see it in a PSA 9 slab. But it does have an outside chance at a 10. Even with that touch of white. You never know. But value-wise, right now as it sits, $200 and a BGS 9. I would say a PSA 9 is closer to around $240. PSA 8, that would probably knock it down to $160, but I don't see it getting an 8. I just don't. But a PSA 10 outside chance, that's like a $600 card at least, I would say. So risk, I would say the risk is it gets an 8. It would be down $40. And the reward, I think it just gets a 9, and that's only $40. But it has that outside chance at a 10, which would be a reward of about $400. So I would say this is a yellow light. Proceed with caution. Percentage-wise, I would put it at I would say a 80% chance of getting a mint 9. I would put it at a 5% chance at getting the 10, and then about a 15% chance it would get an 8. So I like the numbers there. I'm going to crack this open. All right, we're down to our last few cards, and finally we got a baseball card. Freddie Freeman, he's one of my guys to collect. This is kind of his rookie year, 2011, Topps Lineage. Cool looking autograph. I remember sending this in, was hoping for an outside chance at a pristine 10, but it didn't quite get there. So I'm very confident this is going to get a PSA 10. Value-wise, as it sits, about 220 bucks. PSA 9, we'll say around 150. PSA 10, maybe around 350. So the risk would probably, it gets that 9 and it drops about 70 bucks, but the reward, it gets the 10 and you're bumping it up 130. So overall, I'd say it's a yellow light. I would say percentage-wise, 75% chance it gets a 10 and about a 25% chance it gets a 9. So I like those odds. I'm gonna go ahead and crack it. I'd just like to see this in a PSA holder. So that one I'm gonna crack. Final card I'm not gonna spend a lot of time talking about because I honestly don't care too much what grade it gets. I'm collecting these waffles from Stranger Things. They're numbered at 11, and I currently maybe have like 20 of them, and they're all PSA slabbed, so I just need this to be in a PSA holder. But True Gem BGS 9.5, I think it'll get a 10. I'm probably 90% confident it will. These cards are easy to grade, nice quality when they printed these, so good work, Topps. Yeah, this one's gonna get a Gem Mint 10. But that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and you can kind of see my thought process of what I do, my strategies of when I decide and why I decide to crack out certain cards. I hope it can help you make informed decisions on which cards you are thinking about cracking out and whether you can potentially make money on that. But thank you as always. I appreciate it and have a great day.